gentlemen, that was how Victoria shocked me today during her diary session. See, yeah, you know what they say about quiet people? Quiet people are not so quiet because the moment they open their mouth, they will be spewing out the most unexpected things. Because that was exactly what happened with Victoria today. This girl was spitting fire, brimstones during her diary session. And see, the more exciting part was the fact that some of the things that she was saying was actually related to the person that sat in as her big brother. And that was Nelly. With a straight face, with a poker face, Victoria was speaking her truth. She was talking her talk, disregarding whoever was sat there in front of her. See, yeah, I was literally giving her a standing ovation today because that was exactly what I was looking for yesterday. That was it. I was looking for housemates with audacity to talk their talk, speak their mind during the diary session. And Victoria delivered today. But aside Victoria though, I must give it to the housemates that had their sessions today. Today's diary sessions was quite revealing, also very, interesting. And I cannot wait to spill it all on this video. Yeah, so please make sure you watch to the end. Do not skip out on any part. Officially, you are all welcome to my channel. My name is Elijah. This is Frankly Speaking with Elijah, and I am the girl with the tea. Just a quick reminder to all of you to please give this video a thumbs up, like this video if you're enjoying my content so far, and also if you're yet to subscribe, please do not hesitate to do that. Hit the red subscribe button to become a part of this community, and also don't forget to turn on your post notification bell to always receive alerts of my videos whenever I upload a new one. Now, without further ado, let's just continue with the rest of this video. Now, beginning with Kelly Ray's diary session, Tofa had sat in as his big brother, and Kelly Ray was one of those housemates that have been quite forthcoming, with his own personal information during his diary session. Yeah. And so on the question of his first impressions of his fellow housemates, he had mentioned that the likes of Suj and Wani had actually rubbed off wrongly on him from the very get-go. For Suj, he had thought that Suj was proud, but now he knows otherwise, that Suj is not a proud person. For Wani and Handy, he had felt like they were actually just plain rude, yeah, because they had been rude to him on several occasions. But then having watched them closely and listened to their stories, he had come to the understanding that their life's experiences have sort of shaped them into who they are today. About the housemate he trusts the most, of course, he had mentioned Cassia, because according to him, they came into the house together and he is very sure that Cassia will not lose guard on him. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, us the viewers, we actually know why Cassia is the person he trusts the most. But on the housemates that he least trusts the most, he had mentioned Onyeka, because of the way she moves around the house. Yes, I mean, guys, we all know that story. Yes. And then about the most annoying housemate, he had mentioned Wani, and it still boils down to Wani's rudeness towards him and her manner of approach towards him. And then for the housemate that is the least annoying for him, it's Anita, because according to him, she understands timing. She knows when to talk and when not to talk. She knows how to carry herself properly. And guys, even speaking of Anita, I think Anita received the most mentions for the least annoying housemate this season. Ozzy was the next housemate to have his diary session. And coincidentally, for some weird reason, Onyeka was his big brother for today. I don't know how it happened, but remember, they had picked names via a balloting system, and she had actually picked twice. Now, guys, I don't want to overthink this thing, right? I don't want to overthink it, but she actually picked twice, and the first time she picked, I think she picked 2 papers or whatnot, and then she had dropped it back, and then she had said, no, she wants to go again, and then the second time she had actually picked Ozzy's name. So make what you want to make out of that, yes, but yeah, she had picked Ozzy's name. I'm not really sure what Biggie's rules are about this, this makeshift diary session, but it was quite unusual, very, very different, as we know how Biggie's diary sessions are typically with these housemates. Sometimes he engages them in conversations aside the questions he asked them, but other times it's like just a straightforward approach with these housemates, but with these their one-on-one conversations, or rather diary sessions, it was more like they were having a conversation, especially the one between Ozzy and Onyeka, and also between OC and Cassia. We're going to get to Cassia's part, right? But in Ozzy's diary session, he had actually shared that one of his biggest fears prior to coming to the house was how he would be perceived, and also exposing himself, his life, to the world at large, because of the negative perception that people already have about him and his brother, the narrative people have created about them. So they are there in the house to come, retell their stories and erase that negative perception that people actually have about them. And then he had been asked to name the housemate he trusts the most, as well as the reason for that. And of course, just as expected, he had actually mentioned his twin brother OC, because of course they were born and raised together, so it's natural for them to just trust each other even blindly. But then trust Onyeka to probe further. It was more like this entire diary session, she really needed to hear some certain type of confessions from Ozzy, and she really probed a lot. So she had further asked him that, okay, in the absence of your brother in the house, who is that one person that you would say you trust the most? And yeah, Ozzy had mentioned her name. And she was quite excited about it. She was telling him, oh, good choice, good choice, good choice. The next question was about the most annoying and the least annoying housemate. And I don't know if it was just me, but I felt like Ozzy did something right there. Yeah, Ozzy did something there. Now, for the least annoying, he had actually mentioned Victoria. His explanation was that she is very unproblematic. She doesn't like stress. It's just like him, because he doesn't like stress as well. But then when he got to the most annoying housemate, he had actually mentioned Onyeka's name. Now, according to him, she's annoying in a good way, in the sense that if there's one person that he would love to challenge him in life, to go through certain hurdles, before becoming a better person and even understanding, people more, that it would be Onyeka. And that is because of the fact that they both care about each other. He cares, and they care so much as to be willing to go through that roller coaster of emotions. So the way he actually explained it, I felt like there was a lot more to it that he wants to say, but he was sort of holding back from saying it. And you could tell that Onyeka sort of, knew what he was not saying. There's a saying that goes that words unspoken are weightier and heavier than words spoken. So you could tell that Onyeka sort of understood the words unspoken. And I don't know, there was just this this tension between both of them in that room. And Onyeka was blushing. She was so excited about it. She was so happy about it. She was so happy. And she kept on saying, yes, good choice, good choice, good choice. And even at the end of the diary session, she had hugged him and they had walked out together. Victoria's diary session with Nelly, as I mentioned at the start of this video, was quite insightful, very revealing. As a matter of fact, Victoria's audacity and unapologetic nature completely radiated the entire period they spent together in that room. Yes, Victoria was so bold. Her boldness was just very, very lovable. It was just very outstanding. Yes, because she was not scared of anybody or anything, or even scared of offending anybody. She did not actually care. She just needed to express herself, and that was exactly what she did. Now, she had started the diary session by sharing that as a child, she had stuttered a lot and had faced a lot of ridicule from her peers. Yeah. But then coming into Big Brother's house as an adult, the first 2 weeks was such a struggle for her, because all of a sudden it felt like that child that had been ridiculed for stuttering, was brought back to life. It was such a struggle for her. And ladies and gentlemen, I felt really bad for her. Because if you all recall, in the first 2 weeks, Victoria had pissed off a lot of people with her silence, including me. I was just very put off by how quiet she was, how everybody was trying to get her out of her shell, but it felt like she was fighting socialization, But her sharing her story in this diary session, it sort of gave more insight as to why she was the way she was in the first 2 weeks of the season. But that is bygone now. I'm actually happy with the progress that we have seen with this girl. I'm actually happy with who she is now and how she's carrying herself on the show. I had shared quite a number of her first impressions about certain housemates, beginning with Wani and Ndi. According to her, the first time she had actually encountered them in the house, she felt like they were very aggressive. That they are energetic people, but they're also very aggressive. Like if you don't really know them, if you haven't interacted with them, your first impression would be that they're just too aggressive. But then having had one-on-ones with them, she had learned that their experiences in life has actually shaped them to be aggressive the way they are, and that they are very sweet people. Now, our first impression about Nelly was that she thought that Nelly was going to be a snob and very saucy because of the way she looks. But then on getting to know Nelly, on meeting her, interacting with her, she realized that Nelly is actually a very down-to-earth person and very, very sweet, in her interactions with people. Now, another impression she had shared was her first impression of Onyeka. According to her and Onyeka, they actually started growing a bond. She had actually opened up about a lot of things with Onyeka, but then along the line, she had discovered that Onyeka was quite cunning and not genuine at all. Now, there was also the question of who she trusts the most in the house and who she least trusts the most in the house. She had mentioned Sean because, of course, he's her partner and she believes very strongly that he has her back, that Sean is that one person that, tells her the truth straight up without mincing words. And she values that in their friendship a lot. So she trusts him the most to be the one person that will tell her the truth regardless of the circumstance. But for the person that she least trusts the most in the house, it is TJ. Because TJ comes off as a nice person, the in-house therapist and whatnot. But then she realized that the guy is kind of cunning and also, acts like an instigator, because there are certain conversations that he will bring to her, hoping to get a reaction from her and also hoping to see her going to confront those people. And if she had, it would have been a different story, So that is the one person that she least trusts the most. And then about the person that she perceives as the least annoying, she had mentioned Cassia because Cassia gives her comfort. Cassia is a friend, they get along really well. And then for the most annoying, ladies and gentlemen, this was the part where Victoria had outrightly looked Nelly dead in the face without any iota of expression and had mentioned Suge. She had looked at Nelly and said, Suge. And her reason was because she feels like Suge is selectively polite and rude to people around the house. That maybe they are misunderstanding him, but she just feels like there are better ways for him to communicate with people, because most of the time you can tell clearly that he is selectively rude and selectively polite to people. Ladies and gentlemen, I was literally giving Victoria a standing ovation because I thought that because Suge is Nelly's boyfriend in the house, that she wouldn't want to mention Suge. She'll probably look for somebody else. But girl did not hold back. She said what she said, and Nelly looked shocked. You could tell that Nelly was shocked, but because she was playing the role of Big Brother, she couldn't really give a reaction. And I have a strong feeling that later she was going to have that conversation with Suge, yes. But ladies and gentlemen, it is what it is, and I was just really proud of Victoria in that moment. Now, it was Sean's diary session, and the first thing I noticed was that his sworn enemy, Anita, was his big brother for the day. And it was so hilarious, ladies and gentlemen. You could tell from Sean's face that he did not like it. You could tell that, he was grumpy about it. But hey, it had to happen, right? It had to happen. Anyways, the interaction started, and Sean had shared that his biggest fear prior to coming to Big Brother's house was to be perceived wrongly and to be judged wrongly. And the moment he had actually said that, see, I was just rolling my eyes because I'm like, bro, please suck it up. Suck it up, because you and I know that it is part of your strategy to be perceived wrongly, to be judged wrongly. Yes, so just leave that part, leave that part. You know what you came here for. You know what you're doing. You're literally replaying the script that your best friend, or whether you're just your ordinary friend that played, and you're prepared for all of that. So shut it. Let's move on. On the housemates he trusts the most, he actually shared a number of them, and frankly speaking, it kind of made me laugh. It made me laugh because it got me thinking that, well, we will find out, in the long run, how solid this trust is, between him and these people. So he had mentioned Wani, Ndi, by the way, twins, Victoria, and then he had also mentioned Onyeka. But the way he mentioned Onyeka's name, it was like, the trust is not really solid on that front. He had mentioned Cassia as the housemate that he least trusts because of the, is it the conversation of conspiracy that they had that actually led to each of them bagging a strike? Guys, that got me cracking up. He had called it a gossip. I'm like, bro. Oh my God. Anyways, about the least annoying housemate, he had mentioned TJ's name, but for the most annoying housemate, he had mentioned Onyeka. Yes. He said for him, it is the way Onyeka celebrates her wins whenever they have a sponsored task. That though, yes, they are friends, but of late, she's been very, very annoying. The way she does it, she rubs it off. Like, she literally golds them with her wins. And it's very annoying at this point. I'm like, well, she's your friend. So whatever comes with that package, you have to deal with it. Tofa was next with Wani sitting in as his big brother for the day. And they actually shared about his first impression. Now, his first impression of Victoria was that she was more of a quiet person. But then on studying her, he had actually discovered that she's actually very expressive and she can actually hold a conversation for long. And quite frankly, that made me laugh because, ladies and gentlemen, we know that Tofa usually has a certain set of people that he hangs around with. So it made me wonder, like, bro, it's not like you've been consistently interacting with this girl for you to actually think, she cannot hold a conversation. Like, what do you mean by, oh, you did not know that she could actually hold a conversation? Anyways, he had actually shared about the housemates that he trusts the most. And of course, he had mentioned Suj. But for the housemates that he least trusts in the house, he had mentioned Cassia because according to him, she's very unpredictable. She's very unpredictable. And guys, let's not forget that most of these housemates, they call her a witch because they can't really tell about her, her mood or her moves around the house. About the least annoying housemate in the house, he had surprisingly mentioned Ndi, but then about the most annoying housemate, he had mentioned Victoria. And his reason was that Victoria is the type of person that when you upset her, she's not easily forthcoming. She can harbor it in her mind, and then one day she'll remind you of what you did to offend her. And I'm like, okay, this is a very interesting observation. And it made me wonder where that was coming from, because from all of my observations, from watching the show for this long, I haven't really noticed any malice between Tofa and Victoria. As I mentioned before, Tofa has his people, Victoria has her people. So where's that coming from? It was Ndi's diary session with Ozzy sitting in as her big brother for today, and she was quite expressive. She had actually shared that the beginning of the season was very tough for her because her sister had gotten really close to Sean, so that had gotten her emotional. It had made her feel very lonely, and she had had to struggle with finding her own 2 feet. And now she's actually doing better. She's now open to new friendships around the house. She's finding herself around the house. Now, as to housemates that she trusts the most, she had mentioned the by the way twins, had mentioned Sean, and then she had said that, oh, she doesn't really trust every other person around the house. And it got me kind of confused in a way, because I was just hoping that, okay, fine, maybe amongst the names that you're mentioning, maybe your sister is also part of the people that you actually trust the most in this house. And then about the most annoying housemate, she says she doesn't find anybody annoying. And frankly speaking, I did not believe that. Because Wani and Ndi always has somebody to complain about in that house. So how come Ndi doesn't find anybody annoying? Like, guys, it doesn't really add up to me. But anyways, what are your thoughts about that? Let me know in the comment section below. Now, moving on to the final diary session of the week. This one was Cassia's diary session with OC sitting in as her big brother for the day. And ladies and gentlemen, it was such a wholesome session. I thoroughly enjoyed it. OC as a big brother was very, it was more like a big brother. He was very engaging, very sweet, very nice, very friendly. Oh my God. It was so wholesome. It was just really wholesome. You know when they call someone the big bear? That was just, the profile I was just seeing whilst watching their diary session. Osi is such a sweet person. I mean, guys, yes, we know that he and his brother are very, very calculative. They are gamers. But, the diary session was so sweet. It was all fun and vibes. And Cassia was laughing and laughing all through. As a matter of fact, both of them were laughing all through. Beginning with the question of if Cassia had any fears prior to coming to the house, she said she wasn't afraid of anything. That naturally, it just takes her time to open up to people, but she wasn't really afraid of anything. She had no fears or anything. I'm like, oh, okay. You must be the strongest person alive. And then about her first impressions about housemate, she had thought that TJ was a very nice person and a kind person, but then she had, studied him and had discovered that he's actually the snake that he called Kelly Ray. That he's very, very cunning, that he is the snake that he had called Kelly Ray. And then she had actually given a very interesting explanation. So according to her, TJ had nominated her last week. Guys, if you all recall, TJ had nominated her last week for eviction. And then afterwards, he had come to shake her hands, and tell her the same old thing that housemates tell each other, that, oh, don't take it too deep. It's not that deep. It's not that serious. The game is the game, that kind of thing. Like maybe he thought by telling her that it would stop her from nominating him next time, and also not really think anything crazy about it. But then according to her, thank God she had nominated him on Monday, because lo and behold, he had nominated her again. So how do you explain that? That for her, that is a snakish behavior. Very, very snakish behavior. And guys, I totally agree, because wow. TJ thought that he had gotten Cassia. No wonder he was actually shocked on Monday after he was nominated for eviction. The guy was genuinely shocked, But then, the funny part, Cassia has been having conversations with him like nothing is wrong, nothing is happening. I'm like, wow, these housemates, I can't even imagine the mental torture, they will be going through, knowing fully well that this person that nominated you, came to hug you, shake your hand and tell you it's not that deep, nominated you again. Like, what do you call that? And then about the housemates she trusts the most, she had mentioned Victoria's name. Yeah, she did not mention Kelly Ray's name. And guys, quite frankly, I was surprised, but it got me wondering that could it be that it is because OC is always tackling her and, Kelly Ray over their relationship. And OC even took our time to explain that the reason why he and his brother tackle them a lot is because he has noticed that they are good sports. They know how to take it. That if it was other people, they wouldn't even try, because they know that those people will be very sensitive and they will pick offense. But she and Kelly Ray, they laugh and they engage them, so it's all banters for them. It's not like they actually mean anything serious. So he really took our time to explain that he has no ill feelings towards them, that they just enjoy bantering with them because they see them as good people, good sports, people that actually know how to, take dark jokes. And Cassia said, okay, fine, like she actually understands, because she actually thought that maybe they actually had something else in mind towards them, So that was where Cassia had answered the question of who she trusts the most. She said she actually trusts Victoria the most, and then she trusts TJ the least. Yes. And then about the most annoying housemate, she said she doesn't find anybody in the house annoying, but if there's one person that is the least annoying, she actually mentioned Anita. And I like the way OC had actually brought her back to her response. Okay, if you have somebody that is the least annoying, then it means that there's somebody that is the most annoying. And they were laughing about it, and OC was like, oh, could it be me? And she said, oh yes, of course, because you're always calling me a witch. But they laughed about it because OC explained himself again that, listen, it's not coming from anywhere, it's just all jokes, it's just all banters, And ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned before, their diary session was just very wholesome. It was fun. I was laughing all through because it wasn't malicious, it wasn't tense, it was just free-flowing, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for the diary sessions for the week, except if Brother decides to call them again, as he normally does from time to time, all right? But in the meantime, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below about all I have shared on this video, all right? Go ahead and share, and I will see you guys on another video soon. Thanks for watching and have an amazing evening. Bye.